Anybody who knows Sudhir will tell you that he didn't know fear. You see, all of us have a threshold for fear. And this man didn't know fear. The threshold levels were so high that perhaps he didn't understand that there could be serious consequences of taking huge risk. I once asked him, and I asked him because there's a place called, I think, Rednag or something up in Lola Valley.
Okay.
We had some information. So I went with my troop. I climbed up. I sat there in ambush on the ridge line, thick forest. 24 hours I sat there, no movement, nothing. I came down in the evening at about 5:36. When I came down the hill, I find Sudhir Walia with his troop sitting around there. So I said, Sudhir, waste of time, buddy. I've just cleaned up the ridge. No movement, nothing. You're wasting. He said, you go home, Baba. Go home, go home. We'll get out. He climbed up. He climbed. Later, he's telling me. He climbs up. 5:36, they're hitting the ridge line. And he sees a man in a firan or a blanket carrying that milk ka dolu. So he says, Salam alaikum. Sudhir would often wear firan going into combat. He says, Salam alaikum, wa alaikum salam. The rest of the troop is below. And then he sees the weapon and he shoots him point blank. And Sudhir has enough stories like this. And at some stage I asked him, I remember, God bless his soul, what a man. I asked him, because I realized that the difference between this man getting kills and I'm not getting kills. I'm making effort. Both of us are making effort. He gets the kills. Where do I slip up? I asked him, what is the problem? He says, and I said, you take too many risks, Sudhir. Tread careful, boy. You'll have a problem. Because his stories were, I followed him. I shot him from behind. And this is very close conversation distance that you're shooting someone. He says, you people think I take high risk. These are very calculated risks. These are very calculated risks. I know how he will react. I know how much reaction time. This is a soldier who's on a different level. He says, I know how much reaction time he has. I know how he'll react. I know the chances of him getting a headshot. I am prepared to take a shot anywhere else in the body, not a fatal shot. So in that panic, if he fires, I'm unlucky. I'll probably get it in my arm, hand. I'm prepared to take that risk. But for him to get a headshot, I've taken those calculations. That was his explanation to me. That's the kind of man he was. And there's a very interesting story, which I have a short story, which I wrote. Someday it will get published. It's a story that he told me sitting there.
Okay.
And this is not the right place. It's a very interesting story of an experience he had. And I wrote it later as a short story. But perhaps the bravest man I've met.